Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Today we are reviewing Lacrimosa. Now this game is by boardgame and this was out earlier this year and it plays 1 to 4 players.
Yes.
I'm gonna do overview first and then we're gonna go back to tell you what we think of this.
Indeed. So this is a big heavy box, but it is a light to medium Euro ultimately. And it's a 5-action Euro. You've got an action selection mechanism that goes on your board, and then you've got 5 things you can do out here for points. So typical round is played in 4 turns. You've got a deck of 9 cards, and each turn you're going to take 1 card and slot it in the top of your board, and 1 card and slot it in the bottom of your board. And the top card is going to tell you what action or actions you'll be doing. The bottom card will determine part of your income for the next round. And you'll do that 4 times across the turn. So pretty simple mechanism here. It's a game with 4 different resources. So you've got coins and you've got what's called story points. And this is all about the life of Mozart. So Mozart has just died without completing his final work, and we are patrons trying to get these couple of composers to finish the job. And so part of what we're doing to earn money for all of this and hire them is tell the stories of Mozart, essentially. So you've got the stories of his talent, the stories of his journeys, and the stories of his compositions. And those represent these 3 resources here. And you've got them in cube form and you've got them in disc form. And they work the same way, except that the cubes reset at the end of each round, the discs carry on. So with those resources, what are the 5 actions? So you can use one to gain new action cards from the top of the board. This will cost you story points and coins and give you better actions, more income or points as you go through. You can gain opus cards. So these ones here with the big image on them, these represent musical works. You can purchase one of those for black story points, which are the talent points and money. They'll give you points and they'll give you an ongoing benefit with the 3rd action, which is to perform or sell one of these works. So with the perform or sell action, you can either tap the card and get what's shown on it, or you can sell it and discard it to get the higher benefits shown at the bottom. So that's performing opuses. The 4th action is out here on the map. It's the travel action. Everyone shares the Mozart marker. You move around the board as far as you want, pay the coins that are on the roads that you travel, pay the red story points where you end up, and then you get that tile which will give you an immediate bonus, or for these big ones, an end of game objective you can try to meet. The last section, if I just slide this down a little bit, is to compose the Requiem. So here you'll be paying money and white story points and possibly income. You can go down on your own income track, finances track, to perform a certain part of this. So you would take one of these, you would choose an instrument, you would take that instrument from your, from your board, you would slot it here. That will give you some ongoing benefits or points. And there's a little area control thing going on here as well. When you take from the top composer with the quaver, you put the quaver icon down. If you buy from the bottom composer, you would flip this over to the semi-quaver side, pop it on there, and then at the end of the game, each of these discs will be worth a higher number of points or a lower number of points based on which composer is more represented in that movement. The game is played over 5 rounds. And fundamentally, that's it. You can get points for most of what you do. Extra actions or buying the cards to give you extra actions will also give you points in the last round. Buying the opuses will give you points. Selling and performing the opuses will give you incomes and points. Points from these tiles here, and then points for the area control. That's it.
It looks gorgeous. It's a beige game, but it still looks gorgeous. I didn't know it's going to be a beige game when I look at the box. There's nothing wrong with beige game.
The box does have that big red shiny flash on it.
Indeed. So who would have thought? But anyways, so if you look at a spare player board, this was actually, I was quite impressed by how good, let's talk about this design first, because this is like a book and you open it, ta-da, and it will layer player board, and each card you can slot in there just perfectly. Just put it there and it's not going anywhere. It just sits there right there until you remove it. The bottom one as well. It's just very satisfying thing to do.
Yes.
Don't you agree? Yeah.
Indeed.
And then this double layered slots for you to place your things, and this is well, you can flip it for other language. Yeah, that's first the box, and the art's beautiful. It suits the theme, I think.
Yes.
Here you go, take it back. Obviously, for this suits the theme, and it's Mozart. Like it's ta-da.
Yes.
And I love music. Like I can read music, but I have to think about it for a bit because it's been a while. So this is, I don't know, this doesn't really represent a lot, but I know this is certain keys that you use in music.
I could probably still read a treble clef. Mm-hmm. I was never very good at bass clef, and I think that's a tenor clef. I couldn't read that.
So what do you think?
Look, overall, I found it to be a relatively easy game to play. I found it relatively easy to achieve things in the game. It didn't feel like a super tight game. I felt like I had pretty good flexibility to do most of what I wanted. Interaction was it was low to medium. Most of what you were doing was pretty independent. This area control down here was a pretty tame area control, I thought. Movement around the board, the cost to move wasn't that high, so it was relatively easy to move. I think the biggest competitive element was particularly at the starts of rounds later on when we were racing to get these
end of game goal,
scoring points.
Yep. And then these cards is quite competitive as well. There are times where we want to get it because it suits our goal. Well, not really at the start, but towards the end.
Yeah, so I think overall it was a pretty easy entry point for Euro. And that sort of game doesn't always appeal to me that much.
Oh, really?
I think I've said it in some of these reviews before, I like to work for my achievements. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel I had to work that hard for my achievements here.
You did do well in all of your games.
I did do well, and maybe I just hit on a good strategy, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
share us. No.
I felt I was able to, I didn't have to work that hard to get the big sets of points. So it was a gentle point salad sort of thing, which is not hugely my style of Euro.
Okay, that's fair. If you like Euro game and you want nothing too complex, this is it. So it feels Euro. It feels like the card, you take like 4 cards in hand and then you play 2 cards and then draw 2 cards. It's really straightforward, simple. You play the cards, you plan what actions you want to do for next round and that sort of thing, and 1 card carried over to the next round as well. Yes. And yeah, I feel like by the way, there's also goal. Every round you've got a goal that you're trying to achieve. So this one, for example, if you do this travel action, you get 2 coins at the end of that round. Yeah,
I found that to be an odd addition, actually. Mm-hmm. I thought it was, by the time you got later into the game, you will have worked out which one you're focusing on. And if you've already done everything you needed to do on the map, you could just end up not getting money because it doesn't fit your strategy. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was easy to kind of fit your strategy around what that tile was.
Yeah, that's actually true.
It was only $2 one way or another, so.
I mean, it just a little bit of bonus. It's not something that you aim for. It's not big points, not big chunk of things that are coming your way. I quite like something that is not too punishing. Like, do you refer to what you say before?
Yeah.
Because like it's not that hard. So I can think of a few turns ahead, but it's not that much planning needed. You can sometimes you get a wild resource. You can just take one, and then you can use this still for the next round. If you're like, oh no, you can still give this up and then get 1 coin, or
give up 3 coins to get a story point. So yeah, it's a bad exchange, but it's a relatively flexible way of getting the one resource you're short.
Yep. But we've seen like people's strategy is to travel a lot and then gain these end of game points and then trying to achieve it. Or there's like somebody would increase their income track and get a lot of incomes that way throughout the game. Or I've seen this one as well, focus on that, and all of these are achieve and full, gets a lot of points at the end of the game.
Yep.
So there's still a few ways of scoring in this, in this game. Whether I think you still need to generalize and then focus more in one of the 3, I guess.
Yeah. And one of the reasons you do need to generalize is that the actions related to the opus cards all require black story points. The travel actions are all red story points. And the Requiem actions are all white story points. And you're limited on how many of each of those you can get. So it does kind of force you to use it
anyway. And you have limited amount of cards that you have in here. Your starting card. So certain actions like travel, this is in here as indicated by there, and getting cards, performing, and so on. Later on, obviously, you can just get other cards and then upgrade to more powerful action or more options more likely. So this one here is basically the same as this, but one of these, but it gives you more flexibility. So you can also get 2 coins as well, 2 coins or that, and travel or get 2 coins.
Yeah.
And that. So, and they are like later on the track. So these cards are stacked. So the later the round, you'll see more powerful cards, like level 5 cards will give you 2 different actions, so more flexibility then.
Yeah. Or level 4 cards.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Level 5 cards are just points.
Oh, yes,
you can't
yeah.
use them in the next round. But yeah, the opuses get more expensive and more valuable in points as well. So it escalates in that sort of way. These down here, there's a couple of nice engine building elements on these tiles. So there's ones that can give you extra income. There's ones that will give you extra points if you combo them with a specific type of opus card.
Not that one, but yes.
This one works for that one.
Yep.
And there's ones, these ones are probably the most powerful. They will double an action. So if you took the action depicted, you can take that action twice.
Yep.
People did seem to rush for that one early, and those who got them managed to make good out of them.
And this is by with the cost of losing 1 income though. So that's that's how powerful it is that you lose 1 income.
Yeah. Even so, these are they get ever so slightly more expensive if you're later to the game, but it's only 1 coin more expensive. So it's not a huge penalty for not getting in first, and that again comes back to it's a gentle kind of game.
Yeah.
It's until the stack runs out, there's not too much you can do to really mess up your opponents. And I think that for me, the same thing goes up at the top here. A comment I had through the game was that this is a row that gets more expensive as you go along. But I didn't necessarily find that the cards, it was so critical to have this card versus this card that I had to spend all this extra cost for it. It didn't have that Concordia thing where like you need the 2 cloth and you desperately need that one because it's going to combo with your points and you really have to pay hard to get it. This one, it was kind of, it's a little bit more expensive.
But towards the end, it's probably, especially if you, again with the travel, you're going around and then trying to gain these end of game goals, and that's kind of like a race, and then that's starting to be a race as well towards the end, because if you have something that combos that needed for your goal, then you will need to get it.
Yes, if you desperately need that one remaining opus type, for example, then it becomes, that's kind of the only circumstance.
Yeah. But overall, it is a gentle Euro game. If you like feels like Euro game, but you don't want anything too heavy, this would be it. It's quite thematic as well, and it is beautiful. It has beautiful components, but it's nothing too out there. It's nothing's really new, I feel. So that's my recommendation. If you like that sort of thing, then play Lacrimosa. If you like the theme, play Lacrimosa. If you like beige, guess what? Play Lacrimosa.
And there are a few ornate icons that you need to get the hang of. It's not quite as ornate as Lisboa, but a game like that. But you are using, there are action icons that are a little bit more pictorial than they are icon.
Yeah.
So that will confuse you for a round, but you'll be
fine after that. Yeah, that is Lacrimosa. Have you had a chance to play it? This is one of the SN 2022 release, and this
SN or Gen Con?
I thought it was SN. I could be wrong. It's
sure.
2022 release, definitely. So maybe you have played it. Let us know what you think, or you might want to find out, how it goes and what you think after our explanation. Let us know. And if you don't mind, hit the like button. That will be really helpful. And subscribe if you haven't already done so. It's Meeple in the corner. You can click that and hit the bell so you'll know when we have new videos. We have how to play, Stella short and sweet, and so on. Live playthrough on the weekends. I'm also on Instagram. Find me there as well, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.